Bitcoin and all the major Bitcoin indicators and metrics that we take a look at on this channel. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so first thing I want to go over here is there are two different types of crypto investors. There's hybrids like us too that do both native crypto for the actual just the price appreciation and then the passive income. But some people just want the crypto exposure, they want the gains. Some people don't care about the gains, they just want the income. So for those of you guys that are, I'll say this once again, for those of you guys that are just looking for the gains in the immediate to short kind of midterm, next, I'd say about 3 to 12 months, somewhere in there, native crypto, the Grayscale trusts, and even something like the Bitcoin miners, even though you can do options on them. So it's kind of a dual purpose vehicle. Those would be your best bet for basically the capital gains portions. In terms of the income portions, things like crypto-related dividend ETFs, options premiums from cash secured puts and covered calls, those would be good vehicles. So you have things that you can do options on like MicroStrategy, MSTR, Coinbase Coin. Those are the ticker symbols. And then you have things like MSTY and Coney from the YieldMax ETFs, Ybit. Then you have others like Bito, Maxi. I'm sure there's some others out there. I just can't think off the top of my head. The Bitcoin miners themselves, you also can do options on. Then you have things like CONL and MSTU. And I'm sure there's others out there. You would just have to look them up. Maybe just like type in MSTR. Like if you have Robinhood, just type in MSTR. You'll get like a whole list of different options you can look through and kind of figure out what it is that you want and what you don't want. Okay, so let's get into the actual content here. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the metrics first, as we usually do, and then I'm going to go over the charts. So in terms of the total crypto market cap, the only thing that I can say about this that most people that have been in this space for a long time know is that the top coins can really theoretically only do maybe like a 3 to 5x. Okay, so we're talking top coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB at this point is $600. I have a hard time believing it's going to do like a 10x from here. I mean, it could happen, but then that would put that at $850 billion, which would be above Ethereum. I just don't think that's going to happen. But kind of the general consensus here is the larger the market cap of a project, the less upside it has. Okay, the smaller the market cap, the more upside it has. But the smaller down the market cap you go, the more risky the project becomes. But again, if you take a total of, let's say, 10 trades, you put $100 into each. Let's just say you put a small amount, $100 into each. You're looking for like maybe a 50, 100x. And 8 out of those 10 trades fail. They go to 0. But 2 of those trades both print a 50x. Well, you had a 20% win rate, but you still won ultimately, right? Because when you're long, you can only lose 100% of your value. But then if you made 5,000% on 2 of those trades, you lost 800%, you made 10,000%. You're actually positive 9,200%. So something to think about. Obviously, there's no guarantee that can happen. Maybe you win all 10, maybe you lose all 10, maybe you win half, lose half. I mean, it's really just trading is a game of probabilities. So let's put it like that. So in terms of the total market cap, this number right here, which encompasses all of crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything else, by the peak of this bull run, I am expecting this market cap to range somewhere between probably about $5 to $10 trillion. Yes, you did hear that correctly. Because again, the last time that this thing topped out, it topped out right around the $3 trillion mark. So it would make perfect sense for it to do new all-time highs. As you can see, that cycle before that, it did massively outperform the 2017. Comparing 2020 to 2017, the market cap was much bigger. So I don't think 5 to 10 trillion is really out of the question here. Okay, so crypto and Bitcoin, a 5-year search term on the Google Trends. Basically, the gist of this is that we are pretty much sitting at the lows here. That tells me one of two things. Retail, for the most part, is probably saying crypto is dead. Oh yeah, crypto's dead. It's not going anywhere, guys. It's going to 0. Crypto's never going to come back. You know, they're all going to short the market, and then Trump's going to get reelected, and they're all going to get absolutely destroyed. Their stop losses are going to get wrecked. They're going to get wrecked. Hope to God they're not on 20, 50, 100x leverage on some foreign exchange. Because if they are, this is really going to be a bad day for those guys. That's all I got to say about that. I've been doing the whole trading in multiple different time frames and markets for quite some time. I can tell you all right now, I've seen these stories time and again of people trying to bet against markets that just don't support their theory, and they look for any and every reason they can to go against the trend, and ultimately end up getting wrecked for it. So I don't need to say much more about that. So basically, the gist of this here, and we've showed you guys the Bitcoin whales accumulating stupid amounts of Bitcoin at this time. I mean, it's literally just a straight line up. It's crazy. The price is chopping down and sideways, but the whales, the institutions, they're buying absolutely insane amounts of Bitcoin. And what is retail doing? Nothing. Okay, they're looking at the space like, oh yeah, it's doing nothing. That's why we're sitting at a 12, guys. It's not because of the institutions, it's because of retail. So there's that. Okay, and the other thing I want to point out between these two different Google trends is the fact that we are still early, because if we were not early and the bull run was in full swing, we would be moving very fast to somewhere between a 70 to a 100 reading on crypto and Bitcoin, which usually coincides pretty closely with the cycle tops or even midterm peaks. As you guys can see on these charts here, they get really elevated when we're about to hit all-time highs. That's usually when retail starts FOMOing in and chasing the rally. Okay, so the crypto fear and greed, we're back in the greed territory, but again, we use this in confluence with other indicators. So kind of the gist here is that usually when we sit on one extreme or the other, either fear or greed, we're usually in that area for a very long time. So you can see in 2021, between June, maybe a couple of months here, we were in fear. But back here during August 2020 all the way to April 2021, you can see we were in greed for a very long time. Then, of course, during the bear market 2019 to 2020, makes sense. We were in fear for months, if not years at that point. Same thing with 2022, pretty much. And then 2023 to 2024, we kind of had a long period of somewhat greed here, and then a little bit of fear, and then a lot of greed here. And then, of course, we've been sitting in a pullback in time for months, kind of in this fear zone for about 6 months. And then, of course, we're going back up again. So basically what I'm telling you guys is I think, based on what I'm seeing here, likely at least another 6, maybe 12 months of greed. Whether we get the mid-cycle correction or not, we'll see. I'll get into my theory about that in a minute, but I don't think a mid-cycle correction is actually going to happen this time, because what we've seen for the last 6 to 7 months has actually been it. Okay, so MVRV, this one's pretty straightforward. When it's in the green, that is the best opportunity to buy Bitcoin. When it's in the red or the pink color, whatever, that is the best time to sell opportunity and lock in some profits. We're much closer to the buy zone than the sell zone, which tells me likely Bitcoin has not hit its all-time high yet, and it's still relatively cheap. Okay, so Bitcoin rainbow chart. Once again, the gist of this is that, we can speculate on prices. You guys know my targets are somewhere between 140 to 220,000 for Bitcoin. By the peak, I think 220,000 is very realistic. I think it could easily happen. Some people estimate 350,000. I would say that's even possible. Whether it's likely or not, that remains to be seen. So after every single halving that we've had on this chart, you guys can see that the price kind of goes sideways and or up in this blue line. Okay, we saw it in 2012. We saw it again in 2016 before eventually Bitcoin took off every single cycle to its all-time high. You can see we had it here. And of course, we had the rally before the halving. So what has it done? It's retraced back to that blue line. So based on history, the blue line occurs after the halving. What usually happens after we have the halving and then we've sat in the blue line for a while, usually we're going up. So again, this further cements in my mind that likely the all-time high, the true top for Bitcoin, is not actually in yet. Okay, so NUPL, net unrealized profit and loss. This one's kind of literally in the middle. It's pretty much touching in between kind of the fear area and the greed area up here. So I'd say it's pretty much at fair value. Not really a whole lot to look at here. I will say, if you guys plan on being in the space for years and following these charts from time to time, when it's in the green, again, that's the best time to buy Bitcoin. When it's in the either very close to the pink or in the pink, that's the best time to sell. Pi cycle top indicator. So the gist of this is that we undercut under the yellow EMA. Now we're back above it. What usually happens when we get that, you can see it happen back here in 2020. Boom, took off like a rocket. Happened here in 2018. We had this little mini bull run in 2019. Boom, took off like a rocket. Also back here during 2014, 2015. Eventually, it took a while to actually get back up there, but once it got back above permanently, started moving up. Boom, took off like a rocket for a very long time. And I guess you could say it got down here kind of during this bear market dip, but then we got back above it. We kind of retested it, didn't get so much below at that time, and then took off like a rocket. So I'm expecting the same thing to happen here. The next thing I want to point out here is that what we need to see in order for Bitcoin to truly go parabolic is to get above the green EMA. Every time this happens, that is the final leg of the bull run, according to this indicator. Now, the current price for that is about 115,000. So we would need Bitcoin to get up to about 115,000 just to get at the green EMA. Then once it gets above it, then it's, basically just rocket ships from that point. So M2 money supply global year over year. The kind of the narrative behind this one is pretty simple. So the blue line is the M2 global money supply. The actual money supply, the growth year over year is kind of those little orange greenish hills. And the black line is the Bitcoin price. So usually when the M2 money supply goes up, the green hills go up and the price of Bitcoin goes up. Okay, we can see that happen also in previous times. What happened with the blue and the black line? They went up. It seems like the blue line kind of front ran the price of Bitcoin a little bit. So basically, this having gone up substantially right here, looks like it kind of stopped a little bit in September. So yeah, it's probably front running Bitcoin a little bit, and we're going to see Bitcoin actually take off here soon because again, Bitcoin kind of lags behind the M2 money supply. But the gist of this is as we get bigger green hills, the blue line keeps moving up. Bitcoin eventually does go parabolic. You can see we're in that kind of phase right now where these hills are starting to get much, much bigger. Okay, so I wanted to pull up some tweets here on, well, they're not called tweets anymore because it's not Twitter, but on X. So you can see from Titan of Crypto, he does some pretty good stuff. Shout out to him. So you can see he also has pointed out this cup and handle target. Now he does have the falling broadening wedge here as the handle portion. We just have it as a regular handle, but regardless, you can see the target is pretty much right around where we said it was going to be. I think it was somewhere between 110 to 130,000. So you guys can see this here just to know that we are not making this stuff up. There is other traders looking at these indicators and patterns as well. Here's another interesting one from the same guy or the same group. So pretty much the same thing that we showed you guys on the charts. Every time the RSI gets a breakout of the downtrend and we get a golden cross on the MACD, which I'm pretty confident that's what this is. Usually there is a massive rip in the price of Bitcoin. That's what's being indicated here. We also believe the same thing to be true. So there's some other interesting stuff like this would be for, I'm guessing this would be what it would look like at the peak of the bull market. So you got your Elliott wave theory here. We don't really cover that because that's not part of our toolbox, but regardless, that's something to consider. I will tell you guys, I think that Bitcoin will probably top somewhere around 200,000 thereabouts. And I think that the next bear market low for Bitcoin, which again is not going to be till probably somewhere around 2026, the end of 2026, most likely. In my opinion, I think the bear market low in 2026 for Bitcoin is going to be probably somewhere between 40 to 60,000, maybe 30,000 to 60,000. I don't think it goes lower than that. And again, let's look in 2 years out, but we'll see if I'm right about this. So another one here, this is the 2 weeks. So you got the 20 SMA, which is simple moving average, 21 EMA, which is something we use. Every time you get a golden cross on the 2 week, this thing leads us into a massive bull market. So you can see we just recently had one here after the 6 months of chops. So what should happen after this? Well, if history is any indication, we should get another bull market. Okay, so next thing I wanted to go over here is the Wall Street cheat sheet. So a lot of people think we're probably going to be in the complacency phase, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go into this suckers rally, also known as a bear market rally, and we're gonna dump. I mean, guys, the timing doesn't support it. We had a bear market in 2022. Okay, it started at the end of 2021. If a bear market is going to start based on the 4-year cycles, it's not going to start until the end of 2025. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so a lot of bears are going to say we're in complacency. I'm calling BS. I think that's a load of crap. I think these bears are just looking for a reason to line their pockets. And I mean, that's true for everybody, really. But at the end of the day, everything that's going on in the economy, the Fed cutting rates, the elections, the timing of the cycles of crypto, just all of it. The fact that stocks have been in a bull market for the last 2 years, and none of it supports the bear thesis in this case, okay? And the timing is a way off. In my opinion, we're somewhere between hope and optimism. But again, it's easy to get jaded in these markets and think we're actually in another area of the Wall Street cheat sheet than what we actually are. Okay. This is why it pays big time, in my opinion, to understand these charts and know how to do technical analysis yourself. All right. So let's get into Bitcoin here. So first thing I want to point over here is that we finally have had a breakout of this kind of flag pattern, cup and handle, falling channel, whatever you want to call it. It's all bullish. So we got these higher highs and higher lows forming. That's a bull trend. Okay. So we had lower highs and lower lows for the longest time. But ever since we hit this bottom back here in September, this has, when we broke this 65,000, kind of right here, 64.6, that was a trend change. Okay. That's what's known as a structure level. When it breaks that structure level, gets above it, which we, as you can see right now, we are currently retesting this previous swing top here, and we're bouncing off of it. That's known as a change in trend. Okay, we have gone from a bear trend to a bull trend. But the point in case about this bear trend is it's actually not a bear trend, it's a pullback in time, okay? Which is actually a bullish thing. It gives the markets time to reset without actually dropping 50, 55, 60% like we saw last cycle, and then take off to the move from there. It just takes longer for it to play out, okay? Pullback in time is designed to take longer than an actual pullback in price. We've gone over this. You can see it last time when we had the bear market drop. When it was clear we were going into a bear market, in 3 weeks, we dropped about 40%, okay? And then in the mid-cycle correction we had here, again, this is not going to be perfect, but you can see based on these red candles here, over the course of only 6 weeks, we dropped a massive 50+%, okay? Whereas this pullback in time, we drew down right about to the swing low here, 28% only, and it took us about 25 weeks, okay, or about 6 months. All right, so we're getting the MACD golden cross. The histogram is green. That's a very bullish sign. Last time we got this, and I'm going to keep pointing this out to y'all, October this time last year, almost exactly to the day. Okay, what happened? Boom, took off like a rocket ship. This thing went up a staggering roughly about 160%. Okay. And you can see that and again, we'll go based on the times of the halving. We're not going to look at all this right here because that is a bear market. In a bear market, the golden crosses don't really count when it becomes obvious that it's a bear market. So, but you can see we got the golden cross back here. What happened? Boom, took off like a rocket ship. Okay. Then we got another one mid-cycle right here. What happened? Took off like a rocket ship. The histogram on the MACD was green for a very long time. It did not change. Red for many, many months. Okay. We even have a similar pullback in time pattern here in 2019 before eventually the price of Bitcoin took off like a rocket ship. This actually looks much more like what we're experiencing now. And of course, at some point we did get that MACD golden cross right here. And what happened for many, many, many weeks and months, we were green and took off to the upside. All right, so got your cup and handle. So the next thing I'm going to go over here is the actual Fibonacci retracements. So if I do the kind of micro, and again, we're just looking at the pullback in time here for this one. This one ranges anywhere from a 93,000 Bitcoin up to about 160,000. But that's a micro retracement, okay? So if I do the macro retracement, this one paints a much different picture. You can see this is where we get our kind of final Bitcoin top price estimate here is somewhere between 105 to about a $240,000, $250,000 Bitcoin. Just being a little conservative here by saying 140 to 220,000 is going to be the top. Okay, so we've taken a look at all that. Of course, we've finally gotten the breakout of the RSI. Okay, in conjunction with the golden cross on the MACD. So that's all lining up exactly like you guys saw with Titan of Crypto. Okay, so I want to go over a couple other things here. The monthly chart. Okay. So the monthly chart, you guys can see this is a much more obvious cup and handle or bull flag. What are we getting right now? Okay, we got 5 days to close this. Again, earnings is coming up. I'm expecting the markets to rip this week because we have major earnings. We got the elections coming up. Markets are going to rally into, in my opinion, the end of October, beginning of November. But we have our first monthly green candle closing above the top trend line here. That is very bullish. And of course, when that happens, theoretically, more green candles should print, right? All right, so I'm also going to go over the 12-month chart here. So this is the yearly chart, and this is to, once again, reiterate to you guys, for those of you guys that have doubts, always zoom out, right? Now, can I guarantee we're going into a bull run? No, but there's, I'd say, probably a 95% chance that we are going into a bull run because there's just literally almost nothing that I'm seeing that would support any kind of major pullback at this point. So ever since 2014 here, you can see we have 1, 2, 3 green years of bullish price action. The red years are the bear market years, okay? The bear market years usually take place on midterm elections, in between presidential elections, okay? So that second year after the president gets elected, that is the bear market year. The bull market year occurs, or the second bull market year occurs on the presidential election year, which also coincides with the halving year, okay? That's when Bitcoin usually rips to the moon. It starts its rip towards the end of that year. We get alt season the following year. That's usually how it goes. So we got the 3 green years here. 2018, bear market year. 2019, 2021, bull market year. 2022, bear market year. 2023 and 2024 so far, green. So we should see the rest of this year be green, and then all of next year be green, and then we should see another red candle eventually in 2026, okay? That's what this is saying. All right, so I have another couple things I want to show you guys before we close out here. So the next one I want to go over, and I got to get rid of this to actually show you guys this. So let's see here, stochastic. Oops. Yeah, okay, so I'm on the ticker symbol search. That's why that's not working. Okay, so stochastic RSI, I want to pull this up. So the reason why this matters is because on the 2-week time frame, we have evidence to support that likely this leads to a massive bull run. So you can see we got the oversold on the 2-week RSI here. What's happened since? We've been moving up. The RSI also has been moving up. We had the same exact indication pop up here last year, just like the MACD on the weekly time frame. Okay, we got oversold here. What happened shortly after that? Got the golden cross and boom, took off like a rocket. And not quite perfectly at the bear market lows. This was a bullish divergence here. I don't know if you guys can actually see it, but this is a bullish divergence. Okay, price going down, RSI going up. But basically, we got that oversold here, and then within a short time frame later, we did eventually go up. Okay. And then once again, the 2020 correction, we got that oversold signal. Boom, Bitcoin took off like a rocket. I can go even further back with this to early 2020, pretty much early 2020. We got a double oversold signal on this one. And what happened afterwards? Again, the price of Bitcoin rocketed to the upside. And once again, you guys can see we had another bullish divergence here, okay? So whenever you get a bullish divergence, it's not going to be obvious that it's going to happen, but it does. The price will kind of lag the oversold signal a little bit, but eventually it does end up playing out bullishly, exactly like the bullish divergence indicates. Okay, so the next thing I want to go over here is the Bitcoin hash ribbon indicators. Okay, so We just recently got a buy signal here on the 2-week. In my opinion, that's very bullish. Last time we got one July 23, took off to the upside. And then again, we got another one in January 2023, took off to the upside. And we also got one back here during the mid-cycle correction in 2021, took off to the upside. Again, at the start of the bull run back in October, funnily enough, this also happened in October for a third time during a halving year. We got the buy signal and then boom, took off like a rocket. Got a couple early buy indicators back here. We got one during that pandemic dump that obviously led to an uptrend. I don't think I need to say much more about this. So the last thing I want to pull up here is the Bitcoin dominance. So a lot of people estimate this is going to top out around 60. Okay, it probably will. I mean, it's going to stay within this wedge pattern because it clearly has respected it throughout time. In order to see an all season, the timing and the charts have to line up with it. Okay. So basically in 2020, Bitcoin stole the spotlight. And as soon as we entered 2021, the Bitcoin dominance dropped off a cliff. And of course, Bitcoin's price was still going up during that time frame. Okay, it didn't stop going up until I think like about February or March. But as Bitcoin was peaking out, the money that was in Bitcoin was rolling out into altcoins. And then we saw eventually in the third bull run year, the massive altcoin season. So again, the timing of the cycle still supports Bitcoin going to all-time highs till probably about the end of this year, maybe Q1 of next year, and then we get that all season. All right, so hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.